The Constitution Amendment Tobago Self-Government Bill 2020. The Joint Select Committee on the Constitution Amendment Tobago Self-Government Bill 2020 has reported. What is proposed? The committee recommends that the island of Tobago should be a self-governing region within the unitary state of Trinidad and Tobago, with exclusive powers to make laws for peace, order and governing of Tobago in specified matters, and with exclusive executive powers with a wide-ranging list of portfolio areas over and above what currently exists. What were the policy objectives that guided the work of the committee? 1. That the unity of Trinidad and Tobago as a sovereign state is to remain unbroken. 2. The form of state should remain intact, a republic with a head of state, a president, the three arms of government, a legislature, the executive, and a judiciary. 3. The right of Tobago to self-determination should be protected in the Constitution. 4. Self-government for Tobago should guarantee to Tobago executive and legislative powers with the possibility for expansion of those powers with relative ease. 5. Tobago should be granted full control of its internal governance with very limited interference from the central government of Trinidad and Tobago. And 6. Tobago should control the management of its financial affairs. Against that background, what does the committee propose? The committee recommends the passage of two bills, an amended Constitution Amendment Tobago Self-Government Bill 2020 and a new companion bill, the Tobago Island Government Bill. The Constitution Amendment Tobago Self-Government Bill 2021. The Constitution Amendment Tobago Self-Government Bill will amend the Constitution to establish the island of Tobago as a self-governing region within the unitary state of Trinidad and Tobago. The preamble of the Constitution will confirm 1. The right to self-determination of the people of Trinidad and Tobago, including the right of the people of the island of Tobago to determine in Tobago their political status and freely pursue their economic, social, and cultural development. And 2. The equality of status between the people of the island of Trinidad and the people of the island of Tobago, enabling them to access a fair share of the resources and opportunities available to all the people of the nation of Trinidad and Tobago. A new Tobago Executive Council. The Tobago Executive Council will have the responsibility of managing the Tobago Island government, exclusive of any other authority regarding a list of governmental matters which expand upon what now exists in the THA Act. The jurisdiction of the Tobago Island government is defined in the Tobago Island Government Bill and includes marine waters extending up to 11 nautical miles from the low water mark. This is an increase from the 6 nautical miles currently governed by the Tobago House of Assembly. This list of exclusive executive powers is to be found in the first schedule of the Tobago Island Government Bill and can be added to with the orders subject to negative resolution of the Parliament. Such matters include agriculture, community development, construction and maintenance of public buildings and the maintenance of the residences of the President and Prime Minister, cooperatives, culture and the arts, customs and excise, education including curriculum except national accreditation system, emergency management services, finance, that is to say, the collection of revenue and the meeting of expenditure incurred in carrying out of the functions of the Tobago Island government, except banking, central and commercial, financial intelligence, foreign exchange and exchange control, macroeconomic policy, national insurance, national pension scheme, and taxation, fisheries, food production, forestry, health services, highways and roads, housing, industrial development, infrastructure including air and sea transport, wharves and airports and public utilities, labor, land and marine parks, library services, licensing, marketing, museums, archives, historical sites and historical buildings and cemeteries. Office of the Chief Secretary, except Commission of Inquiry, Constitutional Matters, Protocols for State, Public Holidays, and Children's Authority of Trinidad and Tobago. The Office of the Secretary of Legal Affairs, except Anti-Money Laundering, Counter-Financing of Terrorism and Proliferation Financing. Appointments to quasi-judicial bodies. Children's Attorney. Constitutional Reform. Construction of court facilities for the judiciary. The criminal justice system. Intellectual property. International Office of Child Rights. Law Reform Commission. Law Revision Commission. Legal Service Complaints. National Anti-Money Laundering and Counter-Financing of Terrorism Committee. National Biosafety. Office of the Chief Parliamentary Counsel. Office of the Chief State Solicitor. Office of the Director of Public Prosecutions. Office of the Solicitor General. Registrar General. Central Authority. Council of Legal Education. Environmental Commission. Equal Opportunity Commission. Equal Opportunity Tribunal. The Hugh Wooding Law School. The Industrial Court. The International Law and Human Rights Unit. Legal Aid and Advisory Commission. Sentencing Commission. The Tax Appeal Board. Also under Planning and Development, except National Framework for Sustainable Development, National Monitoring and Evaluation, National Statistics, National Trust, National Development Plan, and National Planning and Development. Plant and Animal Quarantine, Postal Services and the collection of revenue therefrom, Public Utilities except Meteorological Services, Social Welfare, Sports, State Lands, Statistics and Information, Telecommunications, the Environment except Environmental Management Authority and the National Environmental Conservation. The Tobago Legislature, Tourism, including amenities and levies, Town and Country Planning, Valuations, Works, and Youth Development. The Tobago Executive Council shall have exclusive administrative jurisdiction in relation to the list of matters set out above within Tobago and such part of the territorial sea of Trinidad and Tobago comprising those areas of the sea having as their inner limits the low water mark of Tobago, and as their outer limits a line measured seaward from that low water mark, every point of which is at a distance of 11 nautical miles from the nearest point of that low water mark. The President is constitutionally required to act in accordance with the advice of the Executive Council with respect to matters specified in the first schedule of the Tobago Island Government Bill. A new Tobago Legislature. The proposed new Tobago Legislature is different from the current House of Assembly in its structure and powers. This legislature will be a full lawmaking body with power to pass laws to be assented to by the President that will affect the lives of the people resident in Tobago and the jurisdictional area of Tobago. The areas of lawmaking to be devolved onto the Tobago Legislature are extensive and are set out in Schedule 2 of the proposed Tobago Island Government Bill, and can be added to order subject to negative resolution of the Parliament. The Tobago Legislature will have the power to regulate its own procedure and to enact laws as may be desired to govern any aspect of the functioning and operations of the Tobago House of Assembly and the Tobago Island Government. The new legislature will consist of the President and a House of Assembly, comprising 15 elected assemblymen, 5 councillors appointed by the President on the advice of the Chief Secretary, 3 councillors appointed by the President on the advice of the Minority Leader, and 2 councillors appointed by the President in his or her own discretion from among outstanding persons resident in Tobago. The Chief Secretary will also be appointed by the President and will be the Assemblyman who commands the support of the majority of members of the Assembly. As is the case at present, the minority leader will also be appointed by the president and will be the assemblyman who commands the support of the largest number of assemblymen who do not support the chief secretary. The list of lawmaking powers regarding Tobago that will be devolved onto the Tobago Legislature are agriculture, plant and animal quarantine, community affairs and cooperatives, conservation other than national environmental conservation, consumer affairs, culture and entertainment, economic planning and development other than macroeconomic policy, national planning and development, education, library, training and skills development, emergency management systems, employment of persons who are not citizens, financial matters including borrowing, investment, revenue, and other matters of the Tobago Island government other than banking, central and commercial, financial intelligence, foreign exchange and exchange control, macroeconomic policy, national insurance, national pension scheme and taxation, forestry, generation, supply and distribution of renewable energy, health and social services other than national pension, heritage and historical sites, housing, industries, trade and businesses, land and buildings other than land and buildings vested in the state and specifically appropriated to the use of the government, including holding of land by persons who are not citizens, matters related to the proceedings and operations of the Tobago Legislature, prevention and control of fires, restaurants, bars, casinos, and other similar establishments, sport, the environment other than the Environmental Management Authority, tourism including amenities and levies, transport, roads, and highways. The expansion of the Public and Teaching Service Commissions. Mindful of the concerns of Tobago regarding the operations of the Public and Teaching Service Commissions, the appointment of 2 additional commissioners resident in Tobago is proposed for both the Public Service and the Teaching Service Commissions. These additional Tobago commissioners are to be appointed by the President after consultation with the Chief Secretary and the Minority Leader. The committee recommends that matters related to the civil service in Tobago should be devolved to a branch of the Public Service Commission based in Tobago. This is a completely new proposal to treat with the concerns of the civil service in Tobago. Amended regulations governing the operations of these commissions will be essential in order to address the specific and unique needs of the civil service in Tobago. The Tobago Island Government Bill 2021. The committee recommends that the accompanying bill will provide for the essential administrative and procedural matters required for the smooth functioning of the new Tobago Island government and the Tobago Legislature. Therefore, the Tobago Island Government Bill provides for operational matters, including the financial provisions and a suite of administrative and financial oversight committees for the Tobago Legislature. New fiscal arrangements. The committee recommends that Tobago's allocation be increased to a minimum of 6.8% of the national budget annually, and the law provides a mechanism to facilitate increases over and above this percentage. Additionally, the law requires that a revenue sharing mechanism be determined by a body called the Fiscal Review Committee. This will be a technical committee headed by the Secretary of Finance and the Minister of Finance. The Tobago Island government will be entitled to collect or be remitted taxes belonging to Tobago, including personal income tax of persons resident on the island, customs duties and excise taxes collected on the island, value-added taxes collected on the island. Additionally, the Tobago Island government can collect and keep and utilize all the residual taxes applicable to the island of Tobago. There will be a Tobago Fund managed solely by the Tobago Island government, which will contain all the monies which that government may lawfully collect, borrow, earn through investments, or be granted. The Tobago Island government will possess the power to borrow monies locally as well as internationally. However, in regard to borrowing, the approval of the Minister of Finance will be required, having regard to the general practice of international bodies and lending agencies. As a self-governing region, the Tobago Legislature will be required to establish rules in primary or subsidiary legislation to govern the functioning of the Tobago Island government in matters related to finance, including borrowing and investing. Additionally, the bill recommends that the Tobago Legislature should debate and approve its own Tobago Appropriation Act, which, together with detailed estimates, should be laid in the House of Assembly and be subject to the scrutiny of Tobago. The Tobago Island Government Bill recommends oversight committees along the lines found in legislatures the world over. The transition. To ensure that the transition to self-government is smooth, the laws of Trinidad and Tobago will continue to apply in Tobago until respective Tobago laws are enacted. A number of other transitional arrangements are set out in the Tobago Island Government Bill, including the continuation of matters and rules of the Tobago House of Assembly, the transferal of monies credited to the former fund and appropriated to the former assembly, and the vesting of powers, rights, and property in the Tobago Island government. The committee also recommends that all persons employed by an institution under the Tobago House of Assembly Act should continue in their employed position. Also proposed is the continuation of association representation as well as the continuation of collective agreements. Amendments to existing laws. Existing laws will be amended to give effect to these proposals, including the Statute Act and the Interpretation Act, and the Tobago House of Assembly Act 1996 will be repealed. Significantly, the provision in the 1898 Order in Council that deemed Tobago a ward of the United Colony of Trinidad and Tobago will be abolished by the Tobago Island Government Bill. The committee listened to all stakeholders. In arriving at its conclusions, the committee adopted the work of its predecessor, which spent a considerable amount of time studying the proposals emanating from Tobago, engaging stakeholders far and wide through a series of consultations, and examining similar regions that have established semi-autonomous, federal, and semi-federal systems of governance. The committee extensively reviewed the bill, engaged in public consultations, called for and received comprehensive comments on the proposals from a wide cross-section of the citizenry, primarily in Tobago. The submissions and comments from the public were very useful, and many were adopted by the committee. For more information on this and other bills and legislation, visit our website at www.ttparliament.org and follow us on our social media platforms, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Instagram. The Constitution Amendment Tobago Self-Government Bill 2020.